Hello and welcome to Gabbett Media. I'm Grant Abbott and today we're making a funny, simple character like this. It's based on Bert from the old British series Trapdoor, and I've done a similar thing before, but it was a live stream, so this is a bit more compact and should make easier viewing. It's a beginner to intermediate tutorial, so you need a good understanding of the interface, and I tend to go relatively quickly through things. If you like what I do, then do check out my website for more great content. And also, this video is sponsored by Skillshare. It's very helpful to keep the channel running and keep me making content. Skillshare have kindly given me access to their online learning, and I've enjoyed the chance to take a look and try it out. So Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes particularly suited to creators. They've got a lot of categories that will probably interest you, such as animation and 3D art, as well as learning about things like freelancing and entrepreneurship. I've been doing some drawing classes with Jazza. He's been doing some anatomy work. What I've also found good is that they've got a recommended for you section, so you can choose your creative interests, and then they'll find things that they think you'll be interested in. It's curated specifically for learning, meaning that there are no ads, and they're always launching new premium classes, so you can stay focused and follow wherever your creativity takes you. When you join, you can also try one of Skillshare's live classes, so experiencing real-time inspiration as you connect with teachers whilst watching and working along with other members. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click on the link in the description will get a 1-month free trial, so you can start exploring your creativity today. Okay, so I'm using Blender 3, but this will work in previous versions of Blender, and there shouldn't be any major changes with subsequent versions after this. My keyboard shortcuts are down the corner here, so if I left click you can see that there. I'm going to start with the default cube, so let's select that. And the first thing I want to do is cut it in half to mirror it. There's an easy way to do this. If we go to Edit, Preferences, and then Add-ons just here, and type in Auto over here, you can get the Auto Mirror. Make sure that's ticked and close this down. Then when you press N on your keyboard, you get this panel up here. Yours will probably look more like this. I have the shortcut keys here, but we need to go to this Edit tab just here, and there's our Auto Mirror tool. If I open that up, make sure the X-axis is highlighted, and then press Auto Mirror. Now you won't see much happen, but if I go to my modifiers down here, click on that, you can see that we've got a mirror in the X-axis. It's also enabled clipping, so it will stick together down the middle. Also, if I go to Edit mode with Tab, you can see it's split in half, so we can work on one side, and it will update on the other. So I grab this, you'll see it updating. Okay, back to object mode. The other thing I want to do is make it all smooth. So Control 3 will add a subdivision surface modifier. You can see that here. You can also add it in here, add modifier subdivision surface, but Control 3 is a quick way of doing it. You can also press Control 2, 3, 4, 5, but that's the amount of subdivisions you'll have down here. So it's got 3 subdivisions with Control 3, and we've got this nice shape here. So now we can go into edit mode and start editing our shape. The first thing I want to do is put it on top of the floor. Let's say this grid is our floor, so let's select all, go to front view with 1 on my numpad, G then Z, and we can probably just type in 1 and it's pretty much there, and then G then Z, and hold down shift now to kind of move it closer to the floor. Okay, it's a bit squared at the moment, as you can see there, so we want to kind of curve this around a bit more and make it more of a lumpy blob. So I'll press Control R to do a loop cut down the middle here. I'll come around to the front so you can see that a bit easier, so Control R just there, and left click once to set it, and left click again to set the position. Now we can start making this a bit more curvy, so I'll go to Edge mode with 2. You can also select Edge mode up here, and then I'll select this one and this one with holding down shift, go to top view with 7 on my numpad, and then press G to move those inwards this way in the X, and then S to scale in the Y, and that will move them closer together, and then we get a much more rounded shape. That's great. We need it thinner at the top than at the bottom, so if we press Control R and do another loop cut there, we can left click to set that and bring that down to the bottom, so it's got a sort of flatter bottom. So I'll left click around there, and you generally call these sort of supporting loops, so it makes a sharper curve around here depending on the position of this. If I press G then Z, you can see it smooths out that curve or sharpens it up with this supporting loop. That's good. Let's come up to the top, go to face mode this time, and select these 2 top faces and scale them in. Now if I come around to the top here and start scaling, you'll see that there's a slight anomaly. It scales more in the Y than it does in the X. I'll undo that for a moment. That's because it's taking this shape into account but not the mirrored side and not the whole thing with the mirror. So you just have to be aware of that when scaling. So if I scale it down, then I just have to press G then X to kind of bring that in and make it that sort of more uniform shape that's round. So just be a bit aware of that. Okay, I want to make that neck a bit smaller, so G then X, move that in a bit more, and scale in the Y, and somewhere around there. I think we want a bit more of a fatness around here. So let's go into edge mode and then Alt left click on this edge loop here. S to scale, and G then X to move it outwards slightly. Kind of getting there, but I think it needs to sort of come in and then up. So another loop cut around here would be good. Control R to create a loop cut there, and I think actually 2 would help, give it a bit more smoothness. So I'll use my wheel to create another one, left click twice, and then scale that. But I'll press Shift Z so it doesn't scale in the Z axis and pulls those in, probably around there. Let's select this one again and scale that in. So we've got this sort of lumpiness like this, and we're kind of getting there. So you'll probably want to adjust the shape slightly depending on what you want your character to look like. I think he can be a little bit less wide in maybe the Y axis, so I'll just select these two faces here and these here, and then scale Y. Bring those in a touch, and I prefer that sort of shape. I'll bring these ones in as well, G then X, it's a bit more like it. And I might create another loop cut here. If I go to 2 edge mode, select this edge loop with Alt left click, and then Control B to bevel that, I can create 2 and make him a bit more rounded. Somewhere around there, I think. And then select this edge loop here. And that won't go all the way around because this is known as a pole, so we have to select this one and this one as well. G then X to move that in, and S then Y to scale it in. Somewhere around there, I think. And we're looking pretty good. Okay, I'm going to tinker with the shape just a touch. So I'll go to vertex mode this time, G then X, move those in. And I think I'm liking that a bit more, G then X. Somewhere around there, I think. Now I'm going to have the arms coming out of here, so we can create a sort of head coming out from the top here. I'll go to face mode again and select these two, E to extrude, and scale those in a fair bit, and E to extrude for this sort of head. We'll do 2, I think, another extrusion there, and that won't create too much of a curve there. If I go to edge mode again and select this, don't follow along with this bit, and press Control X, you can see that suddenly smooth out more. I'll undo that. So I'm creating a sort of top here because of this supporting loop around here. And you could scale this up if you want to have some sort of a funny head like that. And I'd encourage you to do your own thing with this. Now comes the slightly tricky bit, is creating the arm. So I'll press 3 to go to face mode and select these two. This is where we want the kind of shoulder to be. And probably the easiest way to inset these with I. So it creates an extrusion in a sense, and it puts you straight into scale mode. So I'm scaling it up and down, somewhere around there, and then G to grab and just move that out slightly. So we've got that sort of shoulder bit there. And then we can E to extrude, pull that out. And let's go to front view with 1 on my numpad, and G to grab and pull it down. Now these aren't particularly flat, so I'm going to press S then X 0 to kind of flatten them out. That should make it easier to edit. Let's just have a quick look around our shape and see where it's going. It's not too bad, they'll probably be a bit thinner later on, but we can modify them as we go. So we've got some arms there, and we want some hands coming out of this. So E to extrude, it's just going out in the X at the moment, that's fine. And to make the hands, I'm going to extrude out this way and this way. So select the faces, one there, E to extrude and pull that out. And this one here, E to extrude and pull that out. So we've got 1, 2, 3 fingers, and the thumb's going to be here. So let's think about the 3 fingers first. Let's make them a similar size to start off with. So 2 to go to edge mode and just even these up. I can press GG to edge slide. And on this one, GG, and make them a similar size, GG, probably around there. And it's probably best if they're a bit more square as well. So let's press 3 to go to face mode and select all these bottom faces here. And G then Z to push them up. And they're a bit more square now. That should work a little bit nicer. Even them out a little bit more, so edge mode, GG. There we go. Okay, so I'll select these 3 faces at the front. Now instead of pressing E to extrude, because they'll all come out together like this, so I'll undo that, and I'll press Alt E to extrude individual faces. Now when I extrude, they come out like this. So they're 3 separate fingers. So somewhere around there. Let's come to top view to see what that looks like. And then we can select that face, and let's go right to top view. And G to grab, and select this face, and G to grab. So we've got our 3 fingers there. I'll go to X-ray mode, then I can select those faces from the top like this, and I can just sort of make the fingers make a bit more sense. Rotate it like that, rotate that one like that. X-ray mode allows me to select the face whilst in top view, that's why I'm using it. Also I'm going to press 2 on my keyboard to go to edge mode and get this edge here, and kind of make this edge of the hand a little bit nicer in terms of a curve there. And let's think about this thumb a little bit. So I'm going to select these, just bring them back a slight bit there. And this one I'm going to pull in, and this one I'm going to pull around. So the thumb's going to come out this way, but not flat along the y-axis this way, but coming this way, just like your hand is basically. So let's go to face mode, select that face, E to extrude, G to grab, and I'll rotate that face slightly as well. Maybe a little bit further out, and there we've got a really basic hand. Let's modify this slightly, so I can select them all like this because again I'm in X-ray mode up here. You can get there by pressing Alt-Z or Alt-Z depending on whether you're American or English. 1 to go to front view and R to rotate and bring these down slightly. Also, if you want to animate this later, you might want to press Ctrl-R to do a kind of elbow joint just there. And I think we can kind of scale that in as well. Something like this. And we got our sort of funny shape there. Let's turn off X-ray mode now and see how we're doing. It's not too bad, but I feel like we need a little bit more shape in the hands. So I'm going to select these faces coming down here and press G then Z to sort of give it a little bit of a curvature. You can kind of see that in your hands if you look at them. A little bit anyway. And just this edge, we probably don't need that going up. That's a minor adjustment you may feel you don't really need. Also at the edge here, I think we want a bit more curve going on here as well. So I'm going to go to edge mode with 2, select this entire edge going around here, and actually this one as well. So Shift Alt left click to select these 2 loops like this. And I'm going to press Ctrl V to go to the vertex menu, and there's what's called smooth vertices just there. And that will round them out nicely, and then we can G to grab and pull them closer in if we want to. And we can kind of edit the shape if we need to. I think maybe selecting this edge loop around here, this one as well, and this one. It's a little bit tricky to see because it's going inside the shape, but hopefully you can see that. If it's tough to see, then you can actually press this button here, where you sort of see the loops on your shape. Can get a little confusing this though, because it kind of adapts them to the shape. So I prefer to not use that when I'm working with beginners. We can kind of move this up a little bit in the Z axis and maybe move it in the X as well. And I'll just move it manually up to about there. I think that looks a bit better. Also this one, I think that wants to move up to around here. Getting there, I think. I'm going to make a few more adjustments like this and like this. It's got more of a curve going into his head. I think also the head needs to be thinner. So let's go to X-ray mode, front view with 1, select all these. Actually, let's go to face mode and scale those in. I'll press Shift Z so it doesn't scale in the Z. And we'll go right in like this. How are we looking? Not too bad, but I still feel like this edge loop coming around here needs to be thinner as well. And that means this loop around here can be a little bit thinner, maybe go up a little bit. And just adjusting till you're happy with the look of your funny character. To select this edge loop, I can't actually Alt left click because it's hitting a pole here. So I can select this one and Control click this one. That will take the shortest route. It's quite a nice handy tip there, and we'll scale those in a bit more. Right, how are we looking? Hey, he's looking fun. Now you can modify your shape, maybe Control R and then do a funny sort of head like this if you wanted to. Entirely up to you. Have some fun, I would say. Okay, let's go back to solid mode and see how we're looking. I think we're getting there now. I feel like I want to make these a bit thinner though. So S, then Shift Z. There we go, that's a bit better. And these 2 here, scale. And we'll have to G then X to sort of pull that in as well. And we might have to pull this one in as well, G then X. There we go. I like that sort of roundedness. And also, at the top here, let's go to 1. And I forgot to bring these in as well, didn't I? G then X. It's that classic scaling problem. There's probably some simple solution that I don't know about. But you always seem to have to scale it, then grab it and pull it inwards as well. But if anybody knows a really cool trick for that, then let me know. That'd be brilliant because it'd be nice to keep it all uniform. Okay, so we're pretty much getting there for the body shape. Let's work on the eyes, mouth and feet. So out of X-ray mode, start with the eyes, Shift right click to set my 3D cursor, Shift A to add, mesh and then UV sphere. We'll rotate it in the x-axis 90 degrees, so it's got this sort of pupil pointing towards us. That's quite handy, that. That's why I always use UV spheres for the eyes like this, and then we'll scale it down. Okay, so that's one eye. Let's just try and get the right size. I think we want it nice and big at the top there. That looks good. And then we need to copy this across the other side. The best way is to use a mirror. So on my modifier over here with the object selected, add modifier, mirror in the middle here. And it's just mirroring in itself, so it's right on top of each other because it's mirroring round its center point or pivot point just there. Instead, if we use this pipette here or picker, select that, select our cube, that will use that as the pivot point and its object center. So there we got our two eyes. Let's press G to grab and move those into position slightly, and they look kind of fun around about there. I'll shift right click so we can kind of see it a bit easier. There we go. Maybe a little bit bigger, scale them up a bit. You could even have one bigger than the other. That could be fun to have some disproportionate look like that. Okay, so what about the feet? So I'll shift right click in this position, shift A to add, mesh, and this time we'll use a cube. Scale it down a bit, somewhere around there, and then press Ctrl 3 again. So that creates our subdivision surface modifier with 3 levels. Let's go into edit mode with tab, select face mode with 3, and select that end here. E to extrude to pull that out. We've got this sort of foot here. Control R to do a loop cut and create a sort of flat bottom to the foot like this. And remember, that's a supporting loop. So probably around there. Select this edge here, G then Z to pull it downwards. Or you can press GG, G twice, to pull it downwards like this. And it's got these funny fat feet. Tab back into object mode and let's add modifier mirror. Again, it's right on top of itself. Just to show you that, I'll go into edit mode, select all and press G to grab. And you can see there's 2 feet there and they're going around that center point or pivot point in the middle there. I'll undo that though, because let's go back to object mode. We can use our mirror object here, get our picker, choose our character, and there's our feet. Look a bit weird at the moment, so they need a bit of positioning, I think. Make sure the feet are selected, and let's press G to grab, move it out to there, front view, G to grab, move it out to there, and then R, then Z to move them outwards. Oh yes, love that. Okay, so lastly, we just need the mouth. So I'll shift right click here, shift A to add, mesh and then plane. R, X then 90 to have it flat this way. And let's scale it right down and just move it out really slightly there. I'll press period key to zoom in on that. Scale it right down like this, and then into edit mode. Let's position it a little bit over this way. Select this edge at the end here, and we'll start making a kind of smiley face. So I can E to extrude and pull that outwards, or I can just press Control and right click to kind of create a smiley face like this. I think it needs to be a bit thinner, so I'm going to select this bottom edge here and press GG to edge slide those, and select these 2 here, and then E to extrude them out, and then we've got a smiley face with a bit of a mouth. That looks good. I think it probably needs to be a touch bigger, so scale that up a bit, and we'll get it as close as we possibly can to our shape here. So I'm rotating by the Z now. You can even get a bit tighter by moving these ones in. We could go to proportional edit as well and use the wheel for our circle of influence to move that closer. This is probably an unnecessary step, so you don't have to follow along with this, but just get it as close as you can with the skills that you have, because what we're going to do is add a shrink wrap in a moment. So we've got our smiley face there, and I'll press Ctrl 2 to give it a subdivision surface modifier with 2 levels this time. And this time we're going to go to add modifier and then shrink wrap, which is in the middle of the deform. Shrink wrap there. This will make it stick to this object. So we can press on the target, we'll choose our character, and you can see it sticking there. Just with the offset, just put it up a tiny bit, and that will now be above. It's quite far above there, so you might want to go 0.01 or whatever it is. Maybe 0.02 just to be sure. In fact, 3. There we go. So it's got a bit of distance there. And if you don't want to sort of shadow in between the two, you can give it a solidify as well. So add modifier, solidify, and then up this, up the thickness, somewhere around there. And now we've got this smiley face on our character. Needs a bit of editing though, I think. One, it needs to be slightly bigger, so scale this up and notice it will still stick because of the modifiers. Clever stuff. I'll go into edit mode, and I think this edge here, so I'm selecting these. I'll turn off proportional edit and GG to move those upwards to there. Give it a sort of sharper edge with some loop cuts here, and maybe just give it a bit more shape like that. I think that's a bit better anyway. We'll see more when we colour it in. So that is the next step. Let's go to shading. So go to the shading workspace at the top here and zoom in on our character. First of all, I'll select all, right click and shade smooth so it looks nice and smooth. I might put a floor in as well, so Shift A to add, mesh and then plane, scale that right up, and then press Alt G, and that should go to the floor. Let's move our character up a little bit. Make sure we select everything, go to front view, G then Z, hold down Shift for smaller increments, and there we go, he's on the floor roughly anyway. Okay, let's start with that mouth. Click on the mouth, new material, and we'll colour that in black, so I'll click on that. So click on the base colour, move it down to black, and also I always prefer to have the roughness quite high. I think it just gives it a nice look. But you can play with this as much as you like. Now for the body, new material, and this time we'll create a blue like this, probably a bit too saturated, maybe around here. And again, I quite like the roughness, maybe a tiny bit of shine, maybe somewhere around there. Same for the feet, so select the feet, select the body second, and then press Ctrl L, and we can link the materials together. Make sure the body is the active object, or anything that you've coloured and you want to copy from is the active object, so that's highlighted in yellow instead of the orange outline like this. Lastly then, the eyes, new material. The first bit we want white, and then we're going to have the pupil as black, so let's zoom in on the eyes. Go to edit mode, select the faces we want, probably this big I think, so Alt A to deselect all, face mode with 3. If we hold down Control and right click, we can lasso select like this, and then we can select them all. Then we can come down to our slots here and create a new slot. So the first material is this white material here. We need to create a new one just there and assign them to this new one. Nothing's changed yet because it hasn't actually got a material in this slot. So we create a new material and then change it to black. Bring it down like this. In fact, we've got a black material already, so we could just use that one. Yeah, that would have made more sense, but never mind. I suppose this one can be shiny. So we'll have a bit of shine to this one. And let's go back to slot 1 and make that white material shiny as well. And then we've got some shiny eyes. And there we have it. He's looking pretty good. I think I just want to come along to the render properties and add some ambient occlusion in there. Always seem to help that bit. I don't know, to give it some contrast really. And there we have it. Our beautiful character. I feel like the hands need a bit more rounding out, so I'm just going to go into edit mode and select that edge there. Let's go to edge mode and top view. Round that out just a touch. And this one here, GG, edge slide, bring it in a touch. There we go. There we go. Isn't he looking cool? He probably could have some different colour feet, but he looks kind of cool, doesn't he? Let's see it without the overlays. Looking fun. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial. Do share with me your creations. You can go onto the Discord server and share them on there, or you can just tag me in Instagram posts or tweets or whatever it might be. Comment below if you want to learn how to animate this, and I might do that as well, who knows. Thanks for watching, hope you had fun, and I'll see you next time.